Painkiller Ghosts, Chapter 5, Photography, Loneliness, and the Never-Ending War. This is now, and this is what he thinks about. A couple of years ago, he was without time and he was someone else. Now time's all he's got. Time's time. He buried his girlfriend, but not really. He was in too much of a daze to go to her funeral. He dreamed about it, the funeral. Her eyes, brown and beautiful, are gone now. 6 feet underground and seeing nothing, dreaming nothing. Sometimes in his dreams he sees her eyes, but most of the time he forgets what she smelled like, what she felt like, forgets if she actually drank rose-flavored water. That was all years ago. She had brown eyes, but that was years ago. He's put on a few pounds. He's no longer quite the skinny skeleton. He doesn't have dreams for 2 years after he moved back to Suzanne's house. It was like sleeping in a car, that feeling he'd have the next morning. He sleeps in his bed for 8 or 9 hours straight and wakes up feeling tired and confused, his neck sore. He can never remember his few dreams he has. The ones he does remember all bother him, so he prefers not to dream. He never picks up the phone to call old friends from school. They all have families or jobs. No, not even jobs, no. Occupations, careers. Time has none of it. He has no money, no resume. He'd do small jobs here and there, but nothing too heavy, and nothing that paid too heavily either. Mama Exler is his social life for the most part. Sometimes, when he's outside, barefoot and drinking tea, he talks to the garbage man, a guy about his time age, and his father, Conroy and Son Refuse Service. He and the son get along. Father Conroy, on the other hand, always looks at time and sighs. Conroy Jr. tells time, "Don't mind him. He always looks at you people funny. You should see the way he looks at your mama." Mama? Oh hell, he don't mean a thing. Time takes over the grocery shopping for Suzanne. She'll make the list and provide the debit card. At first, Time would go into the store shoeless, and every time he would be asked to leave, he'd walk the half-mile back home, take about 10 minutes finding a pair of shoes, and head out down the sidewalk again. One manager is a woman a few years older than Time, named Erin. He's met Erin before, twice briefly, back when he was Timothy. It seems like such a long time ago. Now, after seeing him in the store once or twice, Erin has tolerated him, even befriended him a little, and allowed him to shop barefoot, but swore that if he stepped on a broken bottle, the store was not to blame. Time smiled. He picked up a scrap of paper and wrote a sentence accepting responsibility and signed and dated it and handed it to her. She smiled back. He was only allowed to go barefoot in the store on the days when she was the manager. She'd give him her schedule. He tells Suzanne that they'd have to be out of eggs till the next day. No way did his feet want to put shoes on today. Then Time and Erin would talk while he was shopping. Vinegar, sweet corn, baby spinach, veggie burgers. But they never really mentioned meeting each other the first time. They both let the recognitions go silently. Time asks Erin for a job. She doesn't answer for a minute. "I don't know, Time. Please, I'm not the kid I used to be. That was Timothy, the wild one. I'm Time." She closes her eyes, thinking, and finally says, "Okay, Time, you get night shift." He smiles. "It's what I wanted." He works at the store 3 nights a week, stocking shelves after the customers leave. He gets there at 9:45 and leaves about 2:30, give or take. He only works at nights so he can be barefoot. If I can, I will. Even though his eyes are blue, dazzling, they still seem scattered, distant. He seems to be at odds with himself. Erin notices. Erin knows Time's mother by sight. She asks about Time when she sees Suzanne. Mama Exler thanks her for giving Time a job, a reason to leave the house, she says, even if it is the graveyard shift. Time watches television, a recession channel, a weather channel, a war on drugs channel. He flips a channel, prisoner abuse. On another channel, everyone seems to be in foreclosure. And what is a recession anyhow? There are 72 channels and he can never find a good show. When he was high on bitter white pills or on junk, he'd stare mindlessly at the screen and not really be watching it, not really be realizing what was going on. He remembers seeing the planes flying to the towers, not real at all to him. The gray smoke floating up, seen miles and miles and miles away. The people on camera caught between burning and jumping, often jumping. Nothing seemed real to him at the time. The dog died too eventually, so did Maria. But now it's all seeming so real to him. He tried to lose himself in television, but he didn't have enough concentration to watch a movie. But he had enough to stare at the news hypnotized for hours. He never really thought about the mountainous region between Pakistan and Afghanistan, but the photojournalists and their cameramen tell and show time, the real world. Photojournalists were getting kidnapped, beheaded. The world that had stopped seeming real to him at one time was real now. He'll have to change the channel now. He'll find himself staring at the reality shows, renovation shows, selling houses shows, shows about rock stars, blind dates, people that can't clean out their own garages, cooking shows, exercise shows, rehab shows, intervention shows. Then he'll dream all night of the wars, the bird flu, the swine flu, some new flu, or some good-looking woman he saw at the store, and the pot plant he has growing, hidden in Mama's backyard. He dreams a lot about that plant, sticky, sweet leaves. But he'll forget about his dreams, the bad and the naked, before he starts his first cup of tea the next morning. Time has his mother, and he has his beard. He has his night job at the store. He has a credit card with a debt he won't be able to pay off for a long time, and a credit history he hopes someone would steal. He has a bullet scar. He has a joint in one hand and nothing in the other hand. He has time, and sometimes he's got hope. Time visited Maria's grave once, twice actually. He went, decided he couldn't stand it, and left. He got less than a mile away, then turned around and went back. His mother found him there in the morning. He wouldn't speak for 2 days after that. He sat staring at the war channel on the dusty screen all day. For a day or two, he remembered what she smelled like, laughed like, how she sneezed every time hot sauce was around, how she would cough on bong hits, smiling. He's trying to remember her drinking her rose-flavored water, freezing rose petals into ice cubes to float around the purple rose-flavored water. Later, Time found his high school yearbooks, photo albums with pictures of him and his underage friends drinking cheap beer, girlfriends in nothing but jeans and bras. He threw them all out. He flipped through them all, smiled, and tossed them in the trash can with the empty cartons of free-range chicken eggs. He threw out all of his old shirts. He threw out his old art, his old photography. He tossed out anything in his desk drawers that had been there for more than 6 months. He cut up his credit card, though he doubted that it worked anyway. He quit smoking cigarettes on the front steps and while on breaks at work. He walks daily. He never takes an iPod, never takes his cell phone. He likes to hear the sounds around him, natural and otherwise. He walks in the early morning, and he walks in the late evening. He looks forward to working in the store those 3 nights a week, sometimes covering for someone else and going there 4 nights. He laughs to Aaron about he used to hate to go to work at the grocery store when he was 16. He used to hate to be a bag boy, packing produce, taking them out to the cars of old people. He hated to have to go from the chilly air conditioning to the blistering hot pavement. He hated the gas fumes. In the winter, it was the opposite. He'd be freezing outside and go in and sweat under his jacket, but he couldn't take off his jacket because he had to turn around and walk into the cold breeze again with more bags of produce and canned goods. But now, he tells Aaron, he loves to be alone, stocking the shelves barefoot, listening to the metallic clinks of cans, the shifting sounds of the dry dog food, the hiss of the sprinklers on the produce coming on and off, ice machines booming in the seafood department every 53 minutes, and he's alone, stocking 6 different brands of canned kale, barefoot and happy. Happy.